It is.
I think they
When
try
I have
to
to
do
turn
that
on
for
the
some of
Chairs,
those.
chairs are the great equalizers. A little taller, so my chair is shorter, so everybody.
What is that?
They kind of set them ahead for
Oh, wow.
a few of us, which is nice.
It is really raining at our place right
They all look uniform.
Where at?
now. At our home in Wichita.
Oh, really?
Really raining right
Something
now.
the principal
Yeah.
at Central High used to
Oh,
do
my
years
goodness.
ago.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Make everybody pull their blinds
Wow.
down to the same exact level, so
We
they
had that
looked
down
like they were
for years,
uniform.
yeah.
This
and
is why.
organized.
I wish
my
people
goodness.
could have seen.
Sometimes I
more
feel
than
like
You
I
know,
need to
that's right
bring
at
my
the time they
school
were having
bag.
elementary back to school. You know, all
Right.
the little kids in
Today we
backpacks.
did.
And so I heard Cottonwood, because I missed it. I went by there, but I missed the first part. They said the water was over the curbs.
Curbs, yeah.
So they said kids just took off their shoes and walked through the water, and
Had fun.
parents said the same thing. And so when I got there, of course, everybody looked like drowned rats.
Yeah.
Then I went over to Coronado, and they have, the two parts of their building have kind of a,
Yeah.
awning
Awning-like, yeah.
thing. I don't think I've ever seen so many people crammed in one little awning. So finally, I got my picture taken with them. I was holding an umbrella over some of them. And finally, the principal recognized that it was pretty tight, so she opened the door early. Yeah, there was and then Coronado actually lost electricity for a little while
Oh,
yesterday.
did
during
they
Oh, they
really?
did.
Huh, that's interesting.
What time of day?
Right about the time they were getting ready to have the open house.
Oh, goodness.
I think if we're gonna do it, we ought not to do it
But
on
when I got there, when they opened up, the electricity was on, so.
Yeah.
everything.
Who else told me they had an exciting time?
1%.
Went over to Sunset. I can't remember. I hit every school today, but I can't even remember where I was last evening.
And then some, yeah, very good, yeah.
But it was
That's
great,
nice of you.
great
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah, very nice.
Wouldn't be mine by a trade. Just going around and shoveling all my neighbor's lots until the damn thing came out the ghost. I had a neighbor, well, you might have.
I went through South High today.
Yeah, I mean, that'd
It
be,
is beautiful.
had a neighbor with a little.
I've been through there a few times, but now to see with things in the classrooms and everything, the library is amazing.
Isn't that something?
It's huge.
He'd get his read
It's lots of glass. It's well lit. It's beautiful.
Isn't that nice? Great, great,
is.
great,
8 or
great.
10 of them.
Have we got a floor map a floor plan online of that stuff?
That's a good question. The floor
Like
plan,
South High floor
the new
plan?
floor
I
plan of
know they
South.
were working on it because I was helping them with the
Yeah.
evacuation route, so I'm not sure if it's online yet, but I can check with them.
That'd be
Yeah.
great if we could get that online.
Absolutely. I do know they
For,
have
for
it.
both buildings, actually.
Yeah, I do know they had it, 'cause like I
pink
said, I
tie
was
with,
working on
Yeah,
an arrow
yeah.
and
shirt
stuff.
is
So yeah,
that?
I will get that for you.
Purple?
I was talking to some of the special needs
Where is it?
teachers at South, and this one
Checkered?
gentleman, I'm not sure how long his career has been, but he's never been in a classroom with windows.
Oh, my gosh.
And now he has these
Big
lots
windows.
of glass, and he said it's just awesome. So he was in the one of the pods, and then he got moved to where they put the special needs students when they had emptied one of them out, which was still no windows. So he said he spent his whole career without windows, and he said it's just like,
Oh, what a difference.
What a difference it
yeah. He
makes.
said he felt like he lived in a basement for his career.
Exactly. Life happened all around you,
That's right,
and
yeah.
you were so surprised when you went outside, and
Saw the sun. Or clouds,
it,
yeah.
it was,
So you had to find out from somebody else if it was
What's
raining or
happening?
snowing, or
yeah.
come out and find out there's 3 inches of snow in your car.
Yeah,
That'd be nice to see that library out of the hole in the ground.
uh-huh, yeah.
It is
You know?
beautiful. Library's
Isn't that
beautiful.
great?
Wow. It's really a cornerstone, I think, of the building.
Good.
Very nice.
But neither one of you ladies can attend our walkthrough? 4:30?
Just too much building for me.
Well, we can get you a chair. No?
I think not. I'll
Okay.
handle it bit by bit when I can, I think. Yeah.
I think that'd be perfectly fine if you want.
Yeah.
But if you come in the front door, whenever you can get to the front door, you'll be able to, you'll walk into the commons, which they call the common
Right.
house. There's huge cafeteria and all those things. And you can go to the right.
I'd like to call this meeting to order, USD 305 Board of Education, August 14th, 5 PM. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Madam President, there are no additions to the agenda.
Thank you. Moving on, we are looking at the 2018, 2019.
We need to approve.
Approval.
We do have to
We
have a
do have
motion
to
approve the
approve
agenda.
of them. I want to rush through. Okay. All those in favor, I have a motion.
I would move that we approve the agenda as presented.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried 6-0. Now, the 2018-2019 budget hearing. We will open the budget hearing for purpose of hearing and answering objections of taxpayers relating to the proposed use of funds and the amount of tax to be levied. If there is anyone in the audience right now, this is the time to come forward if that's what you'd like to do. I see no one coming forward. So do I have a motion to approve the budget?
Madam President, I move we approve the 2018-19 budget as published.
Emma Doherty, second it.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried 6-0. And I think you'll find listed all of that. Next is recognition and presentations, and I believe we do not have any of that either. So we have consent agenda items listed. On those consent agenda items are minutes of the July 10th, 2018 regular meeting, minutes of July 31st, 2018 special meeting, minutes of July 31st, 2018 special meeting, personnel report, financial reports, which include the July bills list, the July bond bills list, bond budget summary, June treasurer's report, June investment report, approve encumbrance listings, one for the professional services contracts for design development, bidding documents, and construction services to DMA Architects in the amounts of $26,000 to replace selected roof sections at South High and Schilling Elementary, and to Jones Gillum Rents in the amount of $115,200 for the construction of a new warehouse storage facility at 1835 South Broadway. Both items were included in the capital improvement plan approved on April 24th, 2018. Approved truck with cargo box bid to Ed Bozar Chevrolet in the amount of $34,155 minus a trade-in allowance of $2,300 for a final purchase price of $31,855. Approved truck with a Capned,
Napide.
what?
Napide.
Napide toolbox bid. Thank you. To Marshall Motor Company Incorporated in the amount of $38,193.73 minus a trade-in allowance of $4,000 for a final purchase price of $34,193.73. And approved Child Advocacy and Parenting Services VOCA grant request. CAPS is applying for Federal Victims of Crime Act funds through the Governor's Grants Program. CAPS will be the physical agent for the project. The portion of funds dedicated to USD 305 partnership is estimated between $40,000 and $50,000.
Madam President, I move approval of the consent agenda items as read.
Second? Gary?
I would second that motion.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Next is public forum. If there's anyone sitting in the audience this evening that would like to come forward, they may do so at this time. There isn't anyone out there in our world, so in our little world here that would like to come forward. So we'll move on to the action agenda. We have board representative appointments with Dr. Hardy.
Madam President, one of the ways our Board of Education serves in our community is through representation of the Board of Education on different councils, advisory groups, and boards. And the board members should have before them the list of those and the assignments. And the recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the 2018-19 board representative appointments as presented.
Jim?
Madam President, I move that we approve the board representative appointments as presented for 2018-2019.
Thank you.
Emma Doherty,
Emma?
second.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Next, under action agenda is board governance and operating procedures revision. Dr. Hardy.
Yes, ma'am. The board might remember this last summer when we had the Board of Education retreat. We did review the board governance document, and we did a really nice job of that. We spent a lot of time on it. There was one recommended change, and that is before you this evening. And it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the proposed revision to the Board of Education governance and operation procedures as presented.
Great. Is there any discussion about this one? Do I have a motion? Gary?
I move that we approve the proposed revision to the board governance and operating procedures handbook as presented.
Second? Jim? Thank you. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Next is our discussion agenda, and we do not have anything listed. So we will move on to school board reports and upcoming dates of importance. Upcoming dates of importance are Thursday, August 23rd, KASB Foundation of Boardsmanship is at 6 p.m. here in Salina. And I believe that is level 1.1, is that correct?
Yes, Madam President.
Monday, August 27th, South High ribbon cutting and open house at 6 p.m. And they are busy tidying their front yard. I think everything will be ready. So please come. Write that down on your calendar for those of you in the audience out there. Write down the last Monday of August, August 27th at 6 p.m., South High ribbon cutting. Saturday, September 8th is Teacher of the Year banquet at the Salina Country Club. So we'll get to see our two Teachers of the Year there and have a lovely, lovely afternoon. Wednesday, October 3rd, KASB Fall Regional Meeting is in McPherson. And I will start with Gary.
I attended that I think most all of us were at the back-to-school day Tuesday morning. Found that to be enjoyable. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but what I saw, it looked like everybody was getting themselves charged up for the school year. Then I also attended a faculty event for the central faculty and had a very good time trying to meet some of the new faculty. They were so excited to be working for 305, and that really made me feel good that we have a reputation. These were some veteran teachers from around the state that really wanted to come here. Made me feel good.
Great, thank you. Jim?
Return to school event. Other than that, no report.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing to report.
Dave? Nothing?
Nothing.
You were at the event too, weren't you?
I was.
Good. Just want to make sure you know that.
No, they mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think all of us were. I have nothing further to report.
Ditto for me, too.
Okay. Well, I attended the KSDE budget workshop with Dale Dennis, and it's always a pleasure to watch Dale in action, and he fills up the time from 10 to 3, and I had a lot of good things to say and share, I think. I enjoyed that, and every year I go, I learn a little bit more. I also attended the KSB Board Leadership Team Workshop in Topeka. I was at the opening of our school year at Central High, and believe it or not, I think that's the first time I ever noticed the upper level filled. Every seat was packed, I think. Was also at an executive meeting for Salina Education Foundation, and I attended the city-county building for input for the new city manager. Education was represented that day. We met for about 30 minutes, and Matt Thompson from Kansas Wesleyan was there along with a board member. And that is all I have. Next is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I guess first what I'd like to do is our wind-up to the 1819 edition of the Salina Public Schools took a lot of effort, a lot of persistence, and I think people just don't even know how hard we work over the summer so we can start school. That's really a huge compliment to all those folks across right over there. Our executive directors, each of those folks right there did a wonderful job this summer getting everything in place, from curriculum to hiring, to make sure our grants were taken care of. I don't know, I think Jennifer set a new record for the number of things we sent out in social media during one summer. But it was just, what a great summer that we had. Mike Lowers, I think that's one of the busiest summer I think you can have as a special education co-op director. You had the hearings that you're working on. You have, how many audits do we have? Yeah. I always wonder what that randomly selected thing really means. But these folks worked very, very hard so we can get school started, and we had a great start. So I just want to really recognize them and compliment them. They're really the folks that make it happen in our district. The other thing, I always thought with the enthusiasm and excitement and the anxiousness that also comes along with the beginning of the school years, as I went to the different buildings last evening, there's a few tears, but it wasn't the kids, it was the moms, you know? And one mom came up to me, she goes, "I don't know why I'm crying, I have a 5th grader." You know, so, well, I thought that was cute. I also want to point out to the board that the teachers organization, NEA Salina, ratified the negotiated agreement with a 98% positive.
Excellent.
And I think that's really, I think, a testament to the way we collaborate, that the district and the teachers, that we all have the same thing. We want to honor our staff as much as we can possibly. So I appreciate the tone and the fact that it was very collaborative, and we all came to the same end. So, Jonathan, thank you, and thanks all the folks that you work with, and thank you for your leadership. And then the last thing, I want to point out that almost all 75 of our new certified staff attended the Rotary Luncheon. They were invited and honored by Rotary. It was very interesting because each of them had to stand up, tell their name, of course, where they're from, and where they're going to be teaching at. I was amazed that we had, and I kind of knew this, but to see them all in one place at one time, how many we have that are out of state, that are coming here for different reasons, ties to family or whatever it might be. And we had a really nice group of folks that are just glad to be home, that they're going to be teaching in our district where they grew up, some in the same school that they attended. So it was fun to hear that. And then the last thing, I just want to thank all the board for attending the back to school staff event that we have. And I think the hearing from our 2 candidates for the Kansas Teacher of the Year was really moving. Just the way they explained them. Both of those folks, it's interesting that they're on different ends of the spectrum, and they kind of talked about that a little bit when they talk about the language of their students at different levels. I thought that was really good. So we have 2 really quality folks that we can be really proud of. So that's all, Madam President.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is executive session, and we will need to go into executive session for attorney-client
You want to start out with 10?
privilege.
See if we can do that.
10 minutes? Last for 10 minutes. Anyone like to jump in and do that?
So we do want to start at,
Well, just give us just
20
a
after?
couple. Yeah.
all right. I move that the Board of Education go into executive session at 5:20 for 10 minutes for the purpose of consultation with Board legal counsel on matters which are privileged in the attorney-client relationship, which if discussed in open session would waive that privilege, and that the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 5:30 in the Board conference room.
Do I have a second, Gary? Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried, 6-0. We will reconvene in 5 minutes.
We're done with these, right? So that we can
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
this.
we are.
All right.
So we don't,
How's that, 15 minutes long?
Short meeting, huh?
How you doing?